I Looked Up From My Writing by Thomas Hardy, 1840 to 1928. I looked up from my writing and gave a start to see, as if wrapped in my inditing, the moon's full gaze on me. Her meditative misty head was spectral in its air, and I involuntarily said, "What are you doing there?" Oh, I've been scanning pond and hole and waterway hereabout, for the body of one with a sunken soul who has put his lifelight out. Did you hear his frenzied tattle? It was sorrow for his son, who is slain in brutish battle, though he has injured none. And now I am curious to look into the blinkered mind of one who wants to write a book in a world of such a kind. Her temper overwrought me, and I edged to shun her view, for I felt assured she thought me one who should drown him too. Okay, this is a poem by Thomas Hardy. Let's see, Thomas Hardy was born in Dorset, in the south of England, and he spent most of his life in Dorset. He's best known for I think his novels Tess of the D'Urbervilles and Jude the Obscure, although the critics gave these books quite negative reviews. His poetry is influenced by the romanticism of William Wordsworth, and he was critical of British society and the declining importance of the countryside in rural Britain. So, what's this about? Okay, so this is about a man, or Hardy, I think Hardy himself, he's sitting at his desk writing, and he looks up and suddenly he sees the moon. And he thinks the moon is trying to read what he says, is concentrating on what he's writing, but suddenly the moon says, no, I'm here looking for the body of a man who committed suicide because his son was killed in a battle, in war. His son was a soldier killed in war, and the man committed suicide. And I can't believe that you're sitting there writing. How can you sit there writing in a world where there is so much injustice, there is so much where there are wars and things like this can happen, and I think you're just hiding from reality, at which point Hardy, the author, then hides away from the moon and avoids the problem. So clearly he's wondering here, Hardy is wondering if he's guilty of wasting his time hiding himself in his papers. So I looked up from my writing. I looked up from my writing and gave a start to see. A start. As if wrapped in my inditing, if the moon's full gaze on me. So it's as if the moon was reading what I was inditing, what I was writing. Yeah, to indict, I-T-E, indict, to write, what I was actually writing. Her meditative misty head was spectral in its air, and I involuntarily said, "What are you doing there?" So there was some sort of a mist around the moon, and the moon was almost like a ghost. And I said to the moon, "What are you doing there? What are you doing looking at me like that?" So this gives the moon this almost spiritual feeling, and now he's going to talk to the moon. Oh, I've been scanning pond and hole and waterway hereabout for the body of one with a sunken soul who has put his life light out. So the moon says, I've been looking at the water. I've been looking at the holes and the ponds and the waterways around here, because I'm looking for the body of somebody who committed suicide, who has killed themselves, has put their life light out. Their sunken soul, their soul has sunk down to the point where they couldn't face life anymore. Did you hear his frenzied tattle? So did you hear his frenzied raving? Didn't you hear him talking? It was sorrow for his son, who is slain, is killed in brutish battle, though he has injured none. So the son was killed in battle, and the son was an innocent. It's not clear if he hadn't hurt anybody in the battle, but this is saying that the son didn't deserve this fate, that the son is a victim of war, and so is the father, who has committed suicide is another victim of war. And this is saying that this is a very sad state. And now I am curious to look into the blinkered mind of one who wants to write a book in a world of such a kind. And now the moon says that the moon is looking at him, is watching him, because he wants to find out who could write a book in a world like this. The moon says that he's wasting his time. His life is spent dreaming rather than actually doing something to help the innocents dying. And yes, he has all of these idealistic principles, but he's actually not doing anything about them. The moon is saying that he is blinkered, he's closed off, he doesn't want to see the truth around him. Blinkers are something that you put over the eyes of a horse so that it can only see perhaps in a very specific direction. Her temper overwrought me. So I was upset by what the moon had said. I'm overcome with emotion. And I edged to shun her view. I moved from where I was sitting so that I couldn't see the moon anymore. For I felt assured she thought me one who should drown him too. So he was certain that the moon was accusing him of being one of these people who had done nothing against the war, that he had done nothing, that he was hiding from his problems, and the moon thinks that he is. He feels that the moon is condemning him for not doing anything about this situation, and the moon and the writer is doing exactly what the moon is accusing him of, is hiding from his problems, and the moon thinks that he's immoral and he's not compassionate, and that he shouldn't be writing, that he should be doing something to resolve a world like this. And I think this is showing that Hardy is doubting whether he really should be spent his life writing, or perhaps he really should be doing something more to make the world a better place. So I looked up from my writing by Thomas Hardy.